Hello and welcome back to another episode of Custody Central. Today we're going to have a short tactical video. This one's pretty basic, but it depends on, I'm finding in terms of viewers that some things that I take for granted aren't necessarily, common knowledge to absolutely everybody. So today we're just going to talk about playing by intent and the merits of pre-measuring everything. We're going to cut to some TTS examples, but three things I wanted to show you. Is we're going to do one example of the point of pre-measuring something, stating your intent in terms of what you plan to do with your movement phase with your opponent, and we'll cut to TTS. Hello, welcome back. We're having another quick toy game example of the importance of playing with intent and communicating with your opponent during the game. So in this example, we're playing as the Custodes, and we've got a Chimera. And what we want to do is we want to pre-measure to the Chimera, and we want to agree with the opponent what this range is, right? So in this example, let's say we agree this is exactly 14 inches away, right? It's exactly 14 inches away. We move 5. That means we only need an 8 on our charge. Yep, 8 plus 5 is 13. So plus the 1 inch engagement range gets us just within 14 for the charge to be successful, right? 5 plus 8 gives us 13 plus 1 inch for the engagement range. So the point is, communicate this intent to your opponent, get them to agree it, so that when you do your move, you understand what the intention is. Why is this important? Is with this being so tight, if we move ever so slightly out, like not exactly in the straight line, let's move slightly too far, what ends up happening is this no longer becomes an 8 inch charge, right? We've lost 0.4 inches by not moving in the exact closest line that we could have. And as a result, it's made our charge 9 inches instead of 8. Because if it was 9.0 exactly, we could have declared a charge for 8 inches. We would have gotten exactly with 8 with the 1 inch engagement range. So this is why it's very important to pre-measure stuff where possible, communicate intent, and I have yet to meet a person who won't play by intent really. The second example is pre-measuring and stating intent before your charge phase, and this can matter in terms of when you don't want to base, for example, and you'll see how sometimes being a little bit further away actually gives you more real movement. And we'll cut to a TTS example. Hello, thanks for joining me on TTS. We're doing a quick toy game example here again. We're going to play as the Custodes, and we're on the last turn of the game, and we're up against Estrometarum. They're holed up in their backfield. And we've done a deep strike, and we're trying to take the last turn objective, the last turn of the game, for example, right? If we do a deep strike, the closest we can go is 9 inches away. If we do, and let's just say we declare it as 9 inches, right? So what's the most we can do here? We can re-roll our charge, so we take our 25% up to a 50% to make the charge on a 9 inch. But the problem is, if we make our 9 inch charge, we're forced to base. I don't think we're likely to kill the Chimera. First of all, we'd have to make our charge using the CP reroll. Gets us to 50%. Obviously, we're going to reroll wounds natively. We can give ourselves additional chances by giving us +1 to wound versus vehicle. We can take lethal hits as the martial Qatar. We may or may not kill this. This is OC2. Each of our Terminators is OC2 as well. So this, you might think this is the best we can do, actually, right? This isn't actually quite correct, right? And the reason is, if we actually declare our charge not at 9 inches away, but at 9.1, doesn't have to be 9.1, could be like anything between 9.1 and 10, right? But obviously we want to be as close to 9.1 as possible. So if we declare ourselves 9.1 away, let's zoom that in, right? And this is mainly about intention here. If we declare ourselves 9.1 away, it means when we actually roll a 9, we don't have to base because we can't. This guy doesn't have to base because he can't, right? When we do our pile-ins, now we can base. Now we can base. And now it actually doesn't matter whether we kill the Chimera or not, because we've got OC4 versus OC2 on the point. So this is just about kind of planning your moves and trying to get extra moves by not basing intentionally. This kind of goes back to an older kind of video that we did, but this is kind of important in terms of when you plan your deep strike 9-inch charges, if you do them, even speculatively, try and declare them 9.1 away instead of exactly 9 away, so that you can get the extra movement to apply them. And in the third example, we're going to talk about pre-measuring your opponent's potential moves and the sight lines that they would be able to reach, and agreeing intent for those marked sight lines with your opponent, so that in your move, even before your opponent has moved, they've kind of agreed, this is the line that they need to reach to be able to shoot your units, for example. And we'll cut to TTS. And now for our final example, this is for people, I guess, who are a bit more try-hard. Let's just imagine we're in a mirror match. We've got, just in this example, we've just got 2 Alaris in one team, and we've got a Caladius tank of the other team. The Caladius has deployed here, and what the point of this is, we're trying to determine what's the max move that they could make to find out the maximum firing angle, right? So we know the Caladius moves 10. I've prepared this previously, so I'll just flip this back. And what this just represents is a max move of 10, right? And we just agree that's the max. That's the max they could move. This is the best angle that they could get to. And you agree what that is. You could just use this with a cloned model. You just do this like this in case you were curious about doing this in TTS. And this allows you to keep the original positioning of the original model. And you can place the clone where you want it. And you can make sure that, this does actually indeed measure 10. You agree this with your opponent. After this, you agree the max sight line that they could reach with this opponent. And you just mark this down with a pen. You just use the line tool like this. And as a result, in your turn, when you move, you can move here. And you can know with absolute certainty that your opponent agrees that that Caladius cannot shoot this unit. Because you've already pre-measured the line, right? They've agreed this is the max place they could go. They've agreed this is the max sight line that they could get in terms of trying to shoot around this this ruin wall. And this just makes your life easier. This is pretty try-hard. Most people aren't doing this all the time. Some people do. When you see it on TTS, you see lines absolutely everywhere. It makes for really interesting games because it means there's a lot of planning by both players, I suppose, in terms of what they plan to do and plan to avoid their opponent being able to do. But anyway, I just thought this is an interesting example to see, how far you can take pre-measuring and playing by intent with your opponents. And thanks for making it to the end of the video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on notifications if you haven't done so already. We've also recently created a Patreon that I will link at the bottom in the video description, and you can also join via YouTube if you want to make some financial contribution towards the channel. It doesn't give you anything. There are no special videos. There's no there's literally nothing you get up for it other than you get a special badge, and you just feel like helping me out in terms of creating videos. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.